find out what Titian used, I returned to London, where there was a painting in the National Gallery that Philippa wanted me to see. It contains every pigment available to a 16th century artist. It's a mad, exuberant mythological painting entitled Bacchus and Ariadne, which Titian painted in 1523 for the Duke of Ferrara. The Duke must have been quite a rich patron, because Titian's used one hell of a lot of colours in it.
He has.
Especially the amount of lapis lazuli he's used.
Lashings of it. Doesn't look too inspiring in this form, but it's worth more than twice its weight in gold. It's probably worth even more now, because the best lapis lazuli has always come from Afghanistan.
Right. Now, next to it is another rock, which is reddish.
The vermilion on her sash.
Which is really rich. It's really crisp.
It's incredibly good quality vermilion. He was a very successful artist.
You're right, we could do that.
Yeah.
Now, there's this beautiful yellow cloth on the floor.
That's lead tin yellow. It's manufactured, so it's an all-chemical process. The red of Bacchus's cloak is made from these beetles here. They have a dye in them that has to be extracted.
Now, we follow that down. We've got this beautiful orange tunic of the girl with the symbols. What is that made of?
That's called realgar. Very dangerous.
Oh, right, okay.
Very poisonous.
Thanks for telling me.
And that's its friend, orpiment, a lovely golden yellow. Equally lethal.
Well, what is the dangerous part of these?
Arsenic
sulfide.
Oh,
right, okay. It is pretty...
It could kill.
Right, okay. What I really like about this painting are these different greens in the foliage.
It's very cleverly done. He might use malachite, and then you might use verdigris on the top,
okay.
Which is this one.
Is that a copper pipe?
Copper pipe, yeah, it is. And it's copper acetate.
Oh, right.
Which is easily made. You just expose copper to an acid like vinegar, and it forms very quickly. You can scrape it off, use it as a pigment. I love this painting, and I want to try and paint a part of it. Which is very cocky,
well, okay,
actually.
okay, have a go.
But,
which bit are you going to choose?
Well, I'm going to go for Ariadne, because I love it for the intensity of the lapis and the vermilion. I mean, it's just so pure, and I want some, and I want to use it. I want you to find me someone who manufactures
And you want the
pigments.
best, of course.
Yeah, I want the best.
I was sent off to meet someone who manufactures pigments the old-fashioned way. Time-consuming and often hazardous, this was one of the most labour-intensive tasks of the painter's workshop. So assistants would often buy pigments from specialist colour sellers who knew how to extract colours from rocks or synthesise them through alchemy. It's an art that has long since died out, but in Germany, a modern-day colour man called Dr. Kramer still manufactures pigments using the same recipes as in Titian's time.
Toll, dass Sie gekommen sind.
So this is lapis lazuli. Do you still get it from Afghanistan?
Yes, that is the best place to get it.
Is it still very expensive?
Sure, that's a real lot of money what you have in your hands. It is perhaps, let me say, £5,000 or something like that. But the point is not how much that stone is. The point is how much blue you get out of that.
Well, I can't imagine how you do that, so will you show me?
We will do.
Okay, that. Getting colour out of a stone is quite a laborious process. It's very hard. Dr. Kramer uses recipes from a 14th century artist's handbook written by a painter called Cennino Cennini. The lapis lazuli is crushed into granules and then sieved to separate the finer particles. The blue seems a lighter blue to the one that we saw in the original stone.
Yes, because there is white in the stone, now we have to work to get it dark again.
To separate impurities out of the blue powder, it's mixed with a warm resin to form a paste which is left to cool and set. This blue putty is then wrapped in a linen sack and gently kneaded in water. The water draws out the precious pigment while the impurities stick to the resin. Different washers produce different shades of blue. The quality stuff that Philippa wanted comes from the first wash. The pigment is left to settle, then the water is carefully decanted off so it can dry. No wonder it's so expensive. 1 kilogram of rock yields just 30 grams of pigment. Next, I needed some high-grade vermilion for Ariadne's scarf. Vermilion was synthesized by mixing mercury and sulfur, or it was extracted from the mineral ore cinnabar. We used the best quality rocks which are mined in China. As with the lapis, it's a labor-intensive process, which involves mixing a warm lime solution with the ground rock and then rinsing with water to separate the different sized grains. The bigger particles settle to the bottom, and when the liquid is poured off, they leave a deep red pigment. The process is then repeated, and each wash produces a lighter hue. It looks like he's like panning for gold. He's rinsing out, and it's an incredibly bright red we've got here. This is the third rinse, and as we can see, the colours become much more orange. So it's warmer and also smoother, so there's none of that granulation we saw from the first rinse. We produced several grades of vermilion, but like Titian, Philippa only wanted the purest. Back in Kent, the workshop was getting ready. The assistants were busy constructing the support for our painting. By the 16th century, canvas rather than wooden panel was widely used in Venice. It was readily available because there was a thriving textile industry which supplied sailcloth to the Venetian fleet. The canvas was primed with a thin layer of glue made from animal skin, which as it dried increased its tension. Calcium sulfate was mixed with the glue to create a substance called gesso, which was applied to fill the weave of the canvas.
Oh, yeah.
I headed off to the studio to deliver Philippa's pigments. I was dying to see what they'd all been up to.
Oh, yeah.
Philippa?
Hi. Hi.
Oh, what an amazing space.
Hi. Nice to see you. How did you get on?
Oh,
How do you
very
like
well.
this?
It's incredible.
Isn't it
You've
good?
even got Venetian mullioned windows.
Magic.
It is. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I wish mine looked like this.
Absolutely. So how did you get on?
Well, I think I've got something you'll be very pleased with.
Oh, I'm excited. How much did you pay?
£300 for an ounce, I think.
Oops.
Is that about right?